So I've got a book signing coming up on November 15th at Shoppers Mall in Brandon, Manitoba, and I'm doing a little practice on my pitch that I'm going to be telling people about the weird hockey card story that happened after I finished writing my last book, Dying is Easy, It's Living That's Hard. I started a couple years ago writing a memoir, How to Win the Lottery in Life. Threw it together in the hopes of getting some of my stories down for my daughters. Threw it on Amazon. Was surprised to see that it sold. And then I was urged to put together some fiction. So I wrote this book, Who Is This? And it's got a pretty cool story too. I did this myself, so some of the formatting was off and there's some grammar issues. But again, pretty cool story, and I enjoyed doing it, and again, got some pretty positive feedback, and a few books sold on Amazon, too much to our surprise. Then came this one, Dying is Easy, It's Living That's Hard. With this one, I collaborated with a friend who really helped me with the grammar and helped point me in the right direction when I was kind of getting off track, and jointly we kind of put together this piece of work. And when I was done writing it, we were working on editing, and we had put together a list of all the character names. I had misspelled a couple I noticed when we were doing the editing, and I wanted to make sure that we had a consistent spelling all the way through. So I had put the main character's name in a Google search to see how many different spellings there were of that name, and a prompt came up underneath saying name meaning, and I clicked on it. And much to my surprise, the name meant something. So I punched in the character's last name, and it too struck me with a meaning. And so one after another, I put in the character names, and yeah, there was a lot of similarities between the names of the characters and the meanings that were coming up on Google. So I got a hold of my friend who was helping me with the editing. I asked her, I said, do you know that these names were meaning the same thing and that we were choosing these names, it seems, with intent? And she didn't have any idea. So I went into my sunroom to meditate and to kind of ground myself because I was feeling a little jittery and anxious about what had just happened. And I collect hockey cards, or at least I did when I was a kid, and I must have been looking at some earlier, and there was a box left out. And one card was kind of sticking out the top, so I pulled it, and it was this card. And it's a checklist from the 80s. And when I started looking at it, I was surprised to see that, wow, that's a character name in the book, that's a character name in the book, that's the last name of a character in a book, over and over and over again. I think it was up to 30 references. Now granted, there's lots of names that are common, and a skeptic would argue that, yeah, well, maybe I read these before, but it seemed like it meant something to me. So I asked the universe, let me pull another card that definitively shows that this book has a message. So I pulled this one, and I almost threw it back because it's a paper insert comic. But then it struck me that, hey, the comic is rather important because the main character's mother in the story leaves little kind of comic book type messages about this size to her kids. And when I read the story inside, it talks about a boy growing up in Saskatchewan who loves hockey and who loves to fight, and he ended up having a back surgery. And I said, boy, that sounds like someone I know. And then this particular Orland Kurtenbach played in all the same cities that the character in the book ended up living and working in. And then when I flipped this card over, on the back was all the secondary names of the secondary characters in the book. I thought, wow, that's weird. So I still wasn't convinced. So then I asked the universe, send me one more card that absolutely definitively says that, okay, I've created some sort of work that needs to be shared. And I pulled this card, and this is Andre Savard. And Andre doesn't mean anything, Savard doesn't mean anything. And when I flipped it over to see if there was any other names in the back, I did find a Jim. There is a Jim in the book, but it's a small reference, and Jim's a rather common name, so it didn't feel like anything. But what did feel like something was I looked at the guy's birthday, and his birthday is September the 2nd. 3 characters die on September 2nd in this book. So that freaked me, and so I thought, you know what, I got to take a little break. And in that little week that I kind of pulled away from the book, I had sent out some digital copies to friends and family of some people that had read some of my previous work to get some feedback. And I was starting to get some of the feedback back, and one of it was from my sister, who supports all my work and has always, seen me through rose-colored glasses. But she called saying, wow, this is one of the best books I've ever read. There's a powerful message inside. You need to get it out. So that got me thinking about those hockey cards again. And I went back into the, and I grabbed that first card and I was looking at it again. I noticed, hey, Wayne Gretzky's name is on here. Yeri Curry's name is on here. And so is Mike Krushelnyski. And anybody who read my first book might remember a part of it where I was mistaken as Mike Krushelnyski when I was exiting the Winnipeg Arena in between Wayne Gretzky and Yeri Curry, and I ended up signing autographs as Mike Krushelnyski for about 15, 20 minutes. So I thought, well, that was odd that all of the names were on that card. And then I thought, I have this whole set in a binder. I'm going to go and find it and see if I actually look like Mike Krushelnyski. And I found the binder and I found the card. And I thought, well, I don't really look like him, but I mean, I guess we were about the same size. So that prompted me to kind of leaf through the rest of the binder, kind of hoping to maybe see there might be another card that jumped out at me. But I went through the whole binder and I didn't find anything until the last page. And I pulled out this card. And this is Doug Smale. And Doug Smale was a Winnipeg Jet, and I saw him play lots in the 90s. And he was super fast, and he had probably 2 breakaways a game, but he had incredibly bad luck. Like, he should have scored double whatever his goals total were on the back. And I flipped it over to check his goals, but I couldn't see the goal amount because, again, born on September the 2nd. So then I went through the whole binder. I thought, okay, I'm going to pull out every September 2nd birthday that I can find. And I found one more. And it was this one. Don Jackson's born on September 2nd. Jackson is the name of the primary character in Dying is Easy, It's Living is Hard. So then, about a week ago, when I found out about this book signing that's going to be going on November the 15th at Kohl's in the Shoppers Mall in Brandon, I was looking over the names of the characters in this book. And guess what? The primary characters are on this card, and the secondary characters are on this card. So anyway, I think there's a message for people in here that have their ears open or are open to it. I'm going to be in Shoppers Mall on November the 15th from 1 to 4 doing a book signing and showing my little card trick. So it'd be great if you could be there. Have a great day, everybody.